Hi, I'm George. Welcome back to the Baker Farm. Today, I'm going to show you how to fix a running toilet. This is a toilet in one of our bathrooms. And as you can see, the water is overflowing this little lip right here. The problem I'm having is this valve, which is called the fill valve, is not sealing properly, and we're going to fix that. Now, if you've got a running toilet, there could be a couple of problems. One, the flush valve down in the bottom, that little red thing you see there, could not be sealing properly or is getting hung up on the chain here. Another problem you could be having is your float here is not adjusted correctly. Because the way this works is as this fills up with water, this float will rise, eventually closing off the valve here. Now I've adjusted this several times already and it doesn't seem to quite be working. So I'm guessing the valve here is stuck. Now there's another style that you'll see has a big, large plastic ball on this end. It connects to this. It works the exact same way. As the water rises, that ball lifts and it shuts off the valve. So what we have to do in this case is we have to get this valve removed, put a new one in, get it adjusted, and that should fix our problem. The first thing you're going to do is cut off the water to the toilet. You do that by turning the valve in the back of the toilet. And on mine, you can see it right down here. So we'll turn this off. As a little bit of insurance, you'll want to know where the water cutoff is for the home. Normally, cutting off the valve to the toilet is all you need to do, but accidents can happen. You could break the valve, it could be already broken, it could fall off, any number of things. So you want to know where your cutoff is to the home as well. Hopefully you won't need to use it. So once you get that done, you're going to want to drain your bowl. So what you'll do here is you'll just flush and hold it until the water all drains out. Now, that's not going to drain all the water out. So what I usually do is I'll take and I'll splash a lot of the water into the hole there, and then I'll get a bucket and put it underneath for when I would disconnect it. So let me go ahead and do that. By the way, this water is perfectly clean. This water came straight from the plumbing system. It has not been in your toilet bowl, so it should be perfectly fine to just kind of splash around. You can also wear gloves if you like. Now I've got the bulk of the water out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bucket up underneath and loosen the nut going to the valve. Loosen the plumbing. And normally this is just hand tight. So we'll loosen this up until it's completely... Depending on your type of plumbing, you may have a flexible line down here, or you may have a hard line like I do. So I have a little trouble getting it out of the way, but we'll see what we can do. Flex lines are far superior, and I will probably replace these eventually with flexible lines. All right, there we go. So now I want to hurry up and get this bucket underneath there so it can start catching the water. And we'll loosen up the nut here that holds the valve in. Normally you don't need wrenches, but this one's on pretty tight. I brought these pliers here, and we'll use these to hopefully loosen that nut up. I've also got a larger pair. One other tip is you'll have a towel ready just in case your bucket doesn't catch all the water. You can wipe it up pretty quick. I realized while taking that, you couldn't see exactly what I was doing underneath the tank of the toilet. So this was sitting inside the toilet. This would go through the bottom of the toilet tank, and this is the nut that was on it. Yeah. And this was screwed all the way up to here and sealed this gasket here to the toilet tank, and that's what I was taking off. So once I got that off, this would pull right on out. So now we're going to put the other one in. I've got a slightly different model here. It's Corky. I've put in probably a couple dozen of these in my lifetime. Says it's universal. Says it fits 99% of the toilets. It does. So I'm going to take this out. So we got our little bag of goodies here. Main two things we want to play with first is the nut and the valve itself. Now the nut says this side up, so it will actually screw in this way with the rounded side up. First thing you want to do is this thing twists to lock. You want to untwist it and it moves it up and down. So we'll need to put it into the toilet to get a good size, get a good height, and then we'll bring it back out and we'll lock it. We've got the water level here. That needs to be about a ½ inch below the top of our drain valve here. So put it in, seat it to the bottom, and then we'll just kind of push it down until it's approximately a ½ inch. Once we get that done, we'll take and twist and lock it. Now also we want to go ahead and double check our measurements. Actually, probably just a shade high. All right. So now that we've got that in there, you need to have it oriented so that it won't get in the way of your lift rod here. We'll go ahead and go underneath, screw the nut on, lock her down real good. You might have to kind of rotate it just a little bit. Just needs to be good and hand tight. Next thing we're going to do is you got your tube here. That's so that you can fill the toilet while the bowl is filling. And it's got two different kinds. So we're gonna rotate this a little bit, loosen this up. Loosen this up some and just kind of rotate the whole thing over. So that we can easily connect up the hose. Gonna kind of push it on there. Be kind of gentle with it. and we'll need to cut it to where it needs to be. So, diagonal cutters right here. We've got this little clamp here that goes on the top of the tube that we're going to put the tube in there from the fill valve. We'll go ahead and put that in there. And just kind of turns around and clamps on your tube. And we should be in pretty good shape there. You may have to wiggle it around a little bit to get it square so you don't strip it out. Once again, it just needs to be good and snug. Just gonna take a quick look. Make sure your top one is nice and snug. And go ahead and come up. Whoa. You might not be able to tell from that last clip, but when I turned on the water, it went out all over the place. The seal between the plumbing pipe, the hard pipe, and the valve was bad. So what I'm going to have to do is replace the shutoff valve so that I can use a more conventional braided line. So that way, if it ever happens again, all I have to do is remove this line and put another one in. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I've cut the pipe, and it's now time to put the ball valve in. Then we're just going to take and attach the pipe to the clamp. This has the O-ring washers already in it, and is the perfect height. You shouldn't have to put it much tighter than just finger tight, at least on the top. I'll snug up the bottom one here in a minute. Pro tip here, whenever working with water, it's always a good thing to have someone else on the other end to turn it on so you can watch for leaks. I don't have that luxury, so I'm gonna have to run to the laundry room, turn the water on, run back here, and hopefully it's not leaking. It looks pretty good. Now the moment of truth. What you want to do is make sure it comes up to your old water line. There should be a mark, like right here, for instance, on this tank is right there. That's the water line on the tank. But I've got some, I'm not sure if it's hard or soft water, but it turns it brown like this, so it kind of makes it easy for me. And you also want to watch your water line on your valve as well, which mine is right there. So they should be about the same place when you're done. And it looks like we're perfect. Now we want to make sure that the toilet has filled up to where it was. And that looks pretty good right there. Still got a little water going in there. That's probably just water draining So it looks like we're good to go. So we're gonna do one more flush. Now you notice you have water coming out top here, you have water coming here, and you can also have water coming from the bottom. That is perfectly normal and to be expected on this particular valve. I hope you have a wonderful day, an awesome harvest, and amazing adventures. Till next time, this is George from the Baker Farm.